Hey there, so we are Carron and Rob at Unfiltered, and we like to talk about relationships, family, love, partnerships, life. So yeah, it'd be great if you want to join us on this conversation. Grab a glass of wine if you're into wine, and we're going to do a sous vide beef filet with some roasted veggies.
And all that while we talk about narcissism for today. That's, at least that's the starting point, and we will see where this will lead us
Where
to.
the conversation goes.
If you haven't, please like and subscribe. And as Karen said, grab a glass of wine and join the conversation, please.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, so we have some beef fillet. We have some
Sweet potato.
not overly dried out sweet potato we found. And
That's fine. Looks
good,
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
In the corner of a cupboard.
No, it wasn't
We
that
have
bad.
Some carrots, rosemary, garlic, onions, and
Rob just loves chopping onions and
I love
garlic.
chopping. It's one
So
of my
every
favorite
meal
things.
has to have onions and garlic. Otherwise, he's very unhappy. He doesn't have anything to chop. He loves crying. I think it's just his excuse to cry.
Sometimes you have to go, exactly.
Yeah, that's my theory.
Yeah, so how did we come up with the topic of
The topic of narcissism. I don't know. I mean, I certainly became very fascinated with the topic in a work environment a few years ago, where we landed up with a narcissist in the team. And just, he was so disruptive and so toxic and so,
abrasive,
yeah,
destructive for
destructive
the
for
team,
the team, yeah.
emotionally exhausting for pretty much everyone.
Especially for you. I think you had the most to do with him, right?
Yes, that's correct. And so, yeah, and I think that's in a
And
weird way.
we kept wondering, like, what is it about this guy that's so disruptive, right?
Yeah, and I think what's important to say is that what's, in hindsight, what's quite typical for narcissists, that you don't always see it from the beginning, right? It often starts out very nicely and very seemingly friendly, almost
Well,
jovial,
they're very charming often. They're,
charming.
yeah.
And so they have an incredible ability to make you feel valued,
Yeah.
heard,
Comfortable,
comfortable,
heard.
right?
Yeah.
And then only after a certain point is when it flips, right? So when
And they start turning everything that they've learned about you against you.
against you, exactly. And that's so typical about narcissists that there's this honeymoon period where they almost like feel you out, where they
And they get you to trust them, right?
get you to trust them,
Yeah.
exactly. That you do, that
And-
so you open up
Yeah.
and you give them some attack space, essentially.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you basically expose your vulnerabilities, right?
Yes.
And also then you trust them, right? So they know exactly how to get you to open up, and but the reason that they're doing it is not because they want an authentic, connected relationship with you. They essentially want power. So then they use what they've learned about you later.
Exactly. To take advantage of you and to manipulate you. That's the most important part.
And I think that's the worst part about it, because we talk about authenticity and how it's so important to be your authentic self and to be true to yourself. And yet that can be the very thing that a narcissist then uses against you.
So just pre-searing the fillets just briefly. So usually we don't do it when we're doing something sous vide. But I read it's actually nice that you quickly give them a quick sear. And then all the flavors of that gets into the sous vide and can penetrate a bit more. So
Okay, amazing. Trust you
I'm just
completely.
going to try that for the first time, actually. Yeah, and in this particular case was interesting because that happened when we were working together in another company. That's I actually founded, and we get someone new into the management team. And initially, that person seemed to be very, like an amazing
Very intelligent.
match. Very intelligent,
Yeah.
very experienced entrepreneur.
Very well qualified, incredibly well qualified, yeah.
So on paper, everything seemed amazing, and the initial interactions were quite amazing, right? They really seemed that this is someone who can really help us to get to the next level.
And I mean, I think he had everybody fooled, right? From the investors, to the entire rest of the team for a while.
Yeah. And so then, for the first 3 months, everything was okay, and it was like kind of this warm-up phase where we got to know each other. He became part of the team, and we had activities together, and he kind of started to build a relationship with everyone from the team. So it really seems like, great guy, everything is going well. But then after several months, it restarted, and that's in particular when he then started to have more control, where this all started to shift, right? Where this all started to turn, essentially.
Yeah. And it was almost like when he had enough ammo on everybody, right? Like he...
Say again?
He had enough ammo on everybody.
Yes.
He kind of knew what people's weaknesses were. And and then he really became very toxic. I mean, at the same time, even right in the beginning, he was incredibly demanding. I mean, like he was not open to discussions or negotiations. Oh, thank you.
Better.
Wanted things done his way. There was no compromising on things, So he was quite sort of my way or the highway, kind of dictatorial in a way. So there was that.
Yep.
And I think he really spent a lot of time building trust with you and a relationship with you, and getting you to trust him. And I remember even feeling quite nervous about like the things you were talking about, and sort of thinking to myself, like, just be careful, right? Because I don't know. I mean, my sixth sense was sort of saying, like, I was just a little bit nervous about it. And I think you are typically very trusting and not very skeptical.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm a little bit more, ironically, I'm a little bit more skeptical about people. People don't realize it, but often I'm kind of sussing them out, I guess, and
getting like a first
but so I think that there were some red flags, and also he very quickly turned on one of the team members, right? Remember?
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
And really, it was because he had an ulterior motive and he wanted somebody else in that role. And so very quickly sort of turned against that poor woman and really showed his true colors there. And that was quite awful. I mean, he was really, really awful to him. And I remember sort of thinking, oh my word, like, he can be that nasty and that mean and that sort of cutting to somebody. And I remember even speaking to this other team member and saying, listen, I think he's got an ulterior motive. And sure enough, within a month, he had put his old person in that role, right?
And replaced,
because she quit, right? Because she just was like, I can't do this. There's no way.
Well, essentially, he he made her quit in that way, right? So he put so much
made her so miserable,
pressure and stress on her that she really saw no other way out than to quit, right? And that was the.
So I mean, that was the very start of it, you know.
Yep.
And I mean, I remember having conversations with her where she just said, "I just cannot stand this guy," you know. And and interesting because he also kind of made everybody feel a bit nervous, you know. So he really also demonstrated his power right in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think for that kind of narcissist, you know, I mean, I think he would be classified as like a grandiose narcissist. You know, the thing is that they exercising power, right? And the way you exercise power is that you've got to that kind of power. I mean, there are all sorts of different kinds of power, but the way that you exercise power is that you've got to have sort of random acts of cruelty.
Yeah. So you kind of make everyone just afraid enough of you.
Yeah. To toe the line, right?
Yeah.
So that everybody was then sort of towing the line and doing things the way he wanted them done, and you know, it really made everybody a bit nervous. And in a way, that kind of power play, in a way, he got everybody to up their game to some extent, because everybody felt a bit exposed, right? And yet...
It is that one.
Yeah, that one's... Thank you.
Yeah, so it was like this typical, almost like phase approach where phase one was gaining trust, identifying who are the key people in the team, what are their strengths, what are the weaknesses, how do they communicate, how do they behave, right? And gaining a certain position in the team, but also a certain reputation in the team. That was the initial phase, right?
Yeah.
And then came phase two.
But also being very charming with the people he needed to be charming with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So they, you know, and he certainly had that capacity to be very charming and to be, you know...
oh, absolutely, yeah.
To come across as this... I mean, he was incredibly intelligent and incredibly well qualified. So, you know, I mean, I think that's also... That has to be said for him, right? I mean, he just spoke with absolute, you know, I mean, he actually knew nothing about the industry that he was coming into, even though he had other qualifications and other areas of expertise. You know, the business he was coming into, he actually
knew
nothing about, and yet he spoke with absolute conviction and arrogance, and, you know, wasn't interested in getting the team's insights or finding out, like, you know, just came in with this sort of dictatorial kind of approach. And it was like, this is the way it's going to be done from now on.
And the interesting thing was we only understood after a while that he actually wasn't as competent as his behavior made it seem be, right? So initially we thought, oh, well, he's saying certain things with such conviction and such... I want to say like clarity almost that he must be an expert in that field, right? Even though we found out very soon that he actually had zero idea of a lot of the important aspects of that particular business.
Yeah.
And so that was the it's like phase one almost, right?
Yeah, phase one. And then remember, there was that work retreat, and he basically just attacked the whole team. Like, he just laid into the whole team. I remember he started with me in the morning, and like, it was like a personal attack. I mean, I went in to go and have a meeting with him about something, and, you know, I was all prepared for the meeting and etc. And he just, out of the blue, just completely attacked me. I mean, you were in the meeting, right?
Yeah. But like, what's happening here, right?
Yeah, and I was so shocked. I literally was stunned.
I was like shell-shocked.
Yeah, I was like shell-shocked. And was also sort of just thinking to us, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. But it was like so personal. And he knew, like in hindsight, if I think back, like he knew exactly what my kind of like vulnerable spot was, right? And where my insecurity lay. And he went straight for the jugular. Like he was merciless in terms of attacking me. And just left me completely shaken, And that was just a complete shock. And then the day progressed. And the only thing that makes me feel better about his attack on me is that he attacked every single member of the team.
Yeah.
Like he just ripped into everybody.
Yeah.
And caused so much damage in such a short space of time. And we were all stuck there. We couldn't go anywhere. I think we would have all left if we hadn't been stuck in this remote place.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I think that's also one very interesting aspect, right? Because it was actually an event that happened in a place that he owned, which was a bit remote.
His place, right? Yeah, very remote.
And so the international team came together. It was like in the middle of nowhere, literally like 2 hours from the next big airport, and
2 hours from the closest shops. I mean, like, it was really remote. You couldn't even get a pizza.
In the middle of fucking nowhere. Oh. And then, so it was also like his space, right? So it's domain, like his domain, his area of...
Can I use that garlic? Can you chop me some more?
I can chop you some more, yes.
Thank you.
It's actually my garlic. You
need garlic. I mean, I might actually even crush some garlic here.
Yes, okay.
So it was like we were on his turf, right?
Yes. And so again, he used that to
his advantage.
Yeah, to also exert power over us, right? Over the whole team.
Yeah. So, and it was after that, and I think like the whole team was so shaken up and so shocked. And I mean, I had never in my life been treated like that or spoken to like that, ever. Yeah. And I was just so shocked, and I'd never seen somebody speak to other people, other professionals.
In that way, right?
In that way. I was just completely shocked, and I just thought this guy has some kind of personality disorder. And then, I don't know, I came across Dr. Ramadi's work on narcissism and just did a total deep dive into narcissism.
Yeah, I think we both did like so just to say for everyone who's listening, we only worked with a person for about 3 months, I think? 3 or 4 months?
It was longer. It was about 6 months. 6 months of hell.
Was it 6 months?
It was 6 months, no. It was 6 months.
Okay, well, so seemed
6 months.
Seemed shorter.
I just think it was even longer, actually.
No. Like there was.
It was 6 months.
I think he only came to the scene like in.
It was in July.
In July, and then
was fired in
September. I think September.
No, it was earlier than that. It was after the summer break. Anyway, he did a lot of damage in a very short space of time. And Rob and I did a deep dive into narcissism.
We became experts in narcissism.
We became experts in narcissism. In a very short amount of time. And it was so fascinating then once you kind of understood the framework from where this guy was operating and understood that this guy's not operating from a normal professional kind of framework and certainly not operating from the same values or the same perspectives that you are, right? I think that that's so important when you're dealing with a narcissist, to understand what the beast is, right? What does this beast look like? What makes them tick? And then I discovered that there are different kinds of narcissists. So he would have been classified as like a grandiose narcissist.
Can you explain the difference what's between these different types?
So like a grandiose narcissist.
Or like what categories of narcissists are
Okay, so you get grandiose narcissists, and then you get sort of narcissists that are not grandiose. And then you also get something called a vulnerable narcissist, which is incredibly fascinating to me. So a grandiose narcissist is somebody who's very charming on the outside, very flashy almost, whether it's academic titles or material wealth, or maybe they're beautifully dressed, or maybe they're always the life and soul of the party, and they're always charming, and they kind of always appear to be perfect, right? And so it's all about status, and it's all about how they're perceived by the outside world. And they tend to be very charming, very, very powerful people. And I mean, I think there are plenty of grandiose narcissists that have reached very, very senior levels, and have achieved a lot of wealth and a lot of power, and they're masters of that, right? So I think it's not uncommon, right, in the super wealthy or the super successful for somebody to be a grandiose narcissist. But I do believe that narcissism is also a bit of a grey scale, or a scale, I think there's a spectrum, right?
A spectrum, yeah.
So that's how I sort of understand it and reconcile it. But so that's your grandiose narcissist, and then you have narcissists. I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but where they're not necessarily grandiose, so they don't have all the external sort of. They might not be like incredibly powerful, or they might not be always. They might not have all these titles, or they might not have any of those sort of things, but they're still inherently a narcissist. Hello.
Why'd you be so busy? You scared the shit out of me.
Sorry. Hi.
I want to get a cookie.
Come on, Angel. What you having for dinner?
Like salad.
Okay. You had salad already.
Who ate my cookie like that?
No. Where's the cookie?
Right, yeah.
Oh, not me. Was it Robert? Ate a section of
Maybe
the
I
cookie.
broke a bit off.
The
It's like
strawberry.
Looks like it got cut.
I didn't want the whole thing anyway.
Okay, good.
See myself and now.
Love you.
Well, I didn't realise
Yeah.
he did well a good cookie.
Yeah, my love. You did a great job.
No, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking happened.
Mia, my love, please stop with the language, my love. Bye. Are you going?
Bye.
Bye, my angel. Love you. So the people who are just that sort of normal narcissist, they're a little harder to spot, because they can be very charming and very likable and very approachable, but they've kind of got these narcissistic traits, where they and then you get the vulnerable narcissists, and I find the whole thing around vulnerable narcissists absolutely fascinating, because they're the people that use they sort of wear their insecurity on the outside, and they use it to manipulate people. So that's the kind of person who's always like, oh, you don't love me, and you never want to spend time with me, and I'm not good enough for you, and
so it's all about using seemingly like pretending to be vulnerable to use it as a weapon,
as a manipulation, right? So essentially they use it as a manipulation in order to get you to stay, in order to get you to spend time with them, in order to get you to do their bidding, right? So the thing that underpins all narcissism is insecurity. So there's this incredibly deep insecurity, and essentially their character and their personality, it's almost like it hasn't
fully developed.
And they base their feelings of self-worth on external validation, right? So whether that's the titles and the status and the beautiful clothing and the perfect wife and or the perfect husband, or the titles,
or the flashy
cars,
locations,
the flashy locations, the fancy holidays, the I have a perfect life kind of facade, right? So either they get their feeling of validation and security from that. How long does the sous vide beef need?
1.5 hours.
1.5 hours. Okay, so then these probably only need like max 45 minutes.
Okay, well then we have plenty of time.
And the and so the thing is with narcissism is that they feel that they have to control other people, or control the narrative, control the story, because that gives them a certain amount of power. So they can't let other people see their true self, right? So because if they terrify that,
Because in seeing the truth, you would
see that they're nothing like the external persona that they've created, right? So
their whole power play, whole power mechanism is essentially based on the fact that you have a different perception of them, and you don't see through them, and you don't see how vulnerable and insecure they actually are, right?
Exactly.
And the moment you understand that, the moment that you see that, and the moment that, even worse, you call that out,
oh my God, yeah.
That's essentially where you can really...
That's when you start seeing the bad side of it.
Yes, so when you start seeing the bad side, exactly right.
Yeah. And I mean, like the way that Dr. Rawani describes narcissism, she says it's like a manhole cover, and underneath the manhole cover is just like hot molten lava. So it's all fine when you are keeping them happy, and when you are doing their bidding, and you are giving them supply. So that's another thing with narcissists, is that they endlessly need supply. So they endlessly need validation. They endlessly need somebody to tell them how wonderful they are and how special they are, whether they're grandiose or whatever that middle narcissist is called, or the vulnerable narcissist. They constantly need affirmation. And it's because they're so deeply insecure.
Yeah.
So as soon as you start not giving them supply, then they start with attacking you, breaking you down, belittling you, etc.
And they tend to match themselves up with people who give them that supply,
Absolutely.
right? So typically what you would see in combination with narcissists is the very...
Giving, accommodating.
What's the opposite of dominant?
Submissive.
Submissive. Thank you.
Yeah.
The very submissive personality type.
Well, otherwise they make you submissive.
They make it, yeah, but also it's. I think submissive personality types also then, it's almost like this toxic, parasitic, symbiotic relationship where the narcissist gets someone that he knows he can easily control, but never dare to speak up. And submissive person knows that while the narcissist is clearly the one controlling the situation, they know what they are dealing with, and their submissive character is fulfilled by that, right?
I think I don't know. I think there can be that. I think that absolutely can happen. But I think narcissists also, what they will do is they will break the other person down to make them into that sort of submissive character. So they will gradually erode somebody's confidence.
Sure, I mean that's then what they do as well, right? That's
yeah. So I think that they will, they may even take somebody who is maybe quite confident and authentic and quite comfortable in their own skin, and they will gradually break that person down. And the way that they break them down is they make them start questioning their reality, right? So they make them, first they isolate them. So they tend to, it'll be things like, oh, I don't really like that friend of yours. She's not very intelligent, or like, I don't understand what you see in that person. They're not very civilized, or
not very smart, or
they're not very smart, or whatever. And so, or they'll often do a lot to get that person into a submissive kind of role. So whether it's financial, where they're like, oh no, don't worry, I'll look after you. I'll, you don't need to worry about finances and working, and I'm going to look after you. I'll be your provider. and in that way, like a person may land up then not having an income, right? And then they also gradually isolate them from other people around them that do love them and support them and validate them. So it'll be things like, oh, I don't really want to spend Christmas with your family. And,
Again, it's about
they're
control,
so
right?
annoying.
It's about exerting control.
100% about control. And it's about creating, first of all, somebody that they can control, and they control the narrative. And then they start breaking that person down. They start gaslighting them where that person starts questioning their own reality, and they start questioning their own self-worth. And that then feeds very nicely into this narcissist loop, right? Where they then have this person right where they want, where this person's very vulnerable to them, submissive to them, giving them supply, endlessly sort of doing their bidding, and they've broken that person down to like a shell of their former self. I mean, this takes time, right? But so this is the process that they go through.
Yeah.
And often they start with being very charming and very wonderful and very loving and
as we've seen in our
perfect,
case,
right? Yeah. So in a romantic relationship, that would be like this love bombing, and like, grand gestures, like a grandiose narcissist would be all about grand gestures, like, flying you to some exotic holiday destination, and, it's like sweeping you off your feet and telling you how wonderful you are and how beautiful and how perfect and how amazing you are. And, so really this sort of love bombing kind of process. Or in the case of work, where he really, gained your trust and made you feel like you guys were a team, and together you were going to work on things, and together you were going to do something great together. And
together we're going to work against our perceived adversaries, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the case initially, right? And that's what I also fell for initially, right? Until I then realized what kind of character I'm really dealing with, right? And then,
but it was only later, right?
Yeah, and then.
So it can happen to anybody. I mean, I wouldn't say that you're a submissive personality.
No, not at all, not at all. And the whole drama started to unfold when it became clear also to that particular person that I'm not going to submit.
Exactly.
That I'm going to do quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Push back.
Yeah.
Stand in front of the team, call out the manipulation, call out the behavior. And that's where then this whole 3 months period of
really toxic,
just this toxic shit show started, which was quite...
It was awful. It was absolutely awful. But and I think in a romantic relationship, it's this love bombing, and it's this like, this like absolute honeymoon phase of this perfect relationship. And I think that then when the manipulation starts and the degrading starts, it's like the person thinks, well, if I could just go back to being perfect, then somehow we could go back to that amazing stage of the relationship.
Absolutely.
Where it was this amazing honeymoon phase, and what have I done wrong to that this relationship is not like what it was in the beginning? So once again, just this extreme form of manipulation, right? And I think with a vulnerable narcissist, I can't imagine how a relationship would start, but certainly I think they...
Well, with vulnerable narcissists, often it starts from, what you see that is like parent-kid relationship, right? Where you have a parent who has narcissistic traits, and then uses or abuses the kids and manipulates the kids, not only through the power differential that you have between the parent and the child, but also to this, as you said, like, oh, I'm so...
poor me.
Pity me, poor me, I had so hard. Like I have no one in the world who loves me. And, if you don't love me, then I have nothing, right? So it's like this kind of this manipulation on a different level, right? So that's, I think, where a lot of these, we would find a lot of these kind of narcissists.
But I mean, I think you also see it in kids.
No, it goes both ways.
Where a child will play the victim in order to get attention. And that to me is quite frightening. Where, and then the parents pander to that. And I find that so fascinating, where it's like these constant bids for attention and this sort of, oh, poor me, I'm so picked on, and, it's not fair. There's a lot of, it's not fair, and so the parents then pander to that. and constantly try to prop that child up, right? And then with a lot of like affirmation and, you know, so there's constant bids for attention, right? Constant seeking of attention. So I think vulnerable narcissists are so interesting. And I think, like, I've seen some of these dynamics where you see couples, right? And like, for example, I can think of a few couples where the woman is an absolute nightmare, like an absolute bitch, sorry to say it, but like unattractive, sour, horrible personality. And yet the guys, vulnerable narcissists, still seem to have absolute control over that person. And it's this, you know, it'll be like I saw you look at that girl, that other girl. You must be cheating on me. Or, you know, you didn't show me enough affection or enough love at the party. And, you know, and then it's like the person gets the cold shoulder, or they get made to feel like they're a terrible person, right? So all of this control and manipulation, and this constant need for affirmation and being propped up, you know.
Yeah, but the interesting thing, what I found was that, I mean, before we deep dived into the whole
deep dived. I think both are right.
Deep dive. Got deep
before
into
we
the
did
topic.
a deep dive.
Before we did a deep dive, thank you. Before we did a deep dive into the whole topic, my idea of a narcissist was someone who is all about, you know, how, like, the flashy things. Like, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, and just keeps repeating that.
Yeah.
And there are certain narcissists who are like that, but
they're much easier to spot.
They're easy to spot, exactly. But the ones that are not so easy to spot and then that are way more manipulative are the ones like the one we encountered in particular, right? Where it's not about, he wouldn't go around and say, look, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, right? So he would make some, you know, it was more like he would allude to it like through, you know, almost like externalizing his praise, right? Okay, so this is what these people say about me, and this is what I've built, and yada, yada, yada. But it wasn't, he wouldn't go around and say, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, right? He was just, that I found so interesting because that also makes it, if you're not familiar with the topic, and if you're not familiar with narcissists, it makes it much harder to spot them, right?
Incredibly. Incredibly difficult to spot it. So that's why I think that those middle sort of narcissists, the ones that are not necessarily grandiose, and I think a lot of people also often tend to think that men are more likely to be narcissists. I think men are statistically more likely to be narcissists, but there are plenty of women that are narcissists, you know. And I think the ones that are not grandiose narcissists are much harder to spot. And like I say, I think it's like there's a bit of a spectrum, right? So I think you get extremes of it.
Yes.
And I think also they're very, very good at understanding people.
That's one of the key points. I think narcissists, all narcissists have an extremely well-developed ability to, I don't want to say be empathetic.
Oh, but they come across as
because
empathetic.
they are not, but it's like, they come across as being empathetic, right? So they're really good at understanding people. They're really good at understanding what people's needs are. So in a way, they are empathetic, but they just then abuse their knowledge against the person.
So apparently, the definition of narcissist is that they cannot be empathetic.
Yeah.
So like there is no empathy there. It's all a pretense, right?
Okay.
They will
fair point.
pretend, and you will think it's empathy. And you'll think it's sincere, but it absolutely is not. So like that's almost like the defining character trait of somebody who is a narcissist, or who is like categorically a narcissist. So they just have zero ability to actually really understand something from your point of view, or to appreciate you or understand you as a person, or, you know, they're all about themselves, and they're all about getting supply from you.
So they understand how another person feels, but they don't care about the feeling. They just care about the feeling in the sense that how can I leverage that particular feeling or emotion that the other person is showing to my benefit. Because ultimately it's all about the narcissist's benefit. Right? It's all about them.
Exactly.
So, well, an interesting point to discuss is A, what triggers narcissists, and then B, how do you defend yourself against narcissists, right? That's
So what triggers a narcissist?
It triggers in the sense that certain behaviors will trigger narcissists, right? If you
will trigger the negative behaviors.
Yes. So as we discussed, if you are submissive towards a narcissist, that's fine. Like that's where
if you give them supply,
where they want you to be, right?
Yeah.
If you as long as you give them supply, that's great. But then, and I think that you actually just call it out what it is, because one of the best strategies to counter a narcissist is to stop giving them supply.
Mm-hmm.
And that means not necessarily that you don't have to push back. Is that you just, essentially, if you ignore them, if you just cut off what they're looking for you, because essentially
you just starve them of supply.
Every narcissist lives exclusively on that supply in whatever form it may come, right? Even if you give them a chance to fight with you.
Oh yeah, that's still supply, right?
That's still supply, right? Because then they can, it's a different power game, right? It's not, it's easier for them if you're submissive. And of course, if you're pushing back, you're giving them a hard time, but you're giving them attention, right? And that's the key point.
And also they're such masterful manipulators that
it's almost like a game.
Come out of a fight.
It's almost like a game.
You will be the one that feels like you're guilty, or you've done something wrong, or they will turn that argument on you so fast that you will come out of it thinking, oh my God, I should never have said something. I'm such a terrible person. Like, how could I have offended that person so badly? And, they've only ever been good to me, etc., etc. They will turn it so fast on you. And then you land up back in that position of being submissive and giving them supply. And I'm so sorry. And how could I be like that, etc., etc. So you're absolutely right. I think that the way to deal with a narcissist apparently is just this sort of like grey rock kind of thing where you just pretend like you're a grey rock.
Right? Can you explain it a little bit for people who are not familiar with that?
It's like when somebody comes and they're trying to, get something out of you, they're trying to get supply, you're just like, oh, that's nice. So just completely neutral, completely boring. You don't feed them with anything. So you don't give them anything of yourself. You don't give them any sort of attack surface in a way. You just become this boring grey rock where you kind of like respond, but you're not really giving them anything to attack. And that frustrates them no end, right?
Because it's not submission, it's not confrontation, so they don't know what to do with you, right? It's like they have nothing to, because either way they're gonna try to beat you. If you're submissive, they're gonna try to put you even more into submission. If you're pushing back, they're trying to manipulate you and trying to
turn the argument against
you. And they're very good with that. They're very good with the words. They're very good with how they reframe a situation, right? So, but you give them something. Whereas if you just like, all right, whatever, right?
Yeah, and they'll that whole thing around them making you question your own reality, right? So they'll, they'll, for example, say that you've done something wrong, or you should have done something, and instead of getting defensive, or instead of being like, but I did do it, it's done, and then they'll be like, no, you haven't done it, or, for example, it's a bad example, but or you haven't done it properly, or but you left out this and this and this, and now this is going to be a disaster, etc. So they'll turn things against you. They'll gaslight you, or they'll make you question your reality, or they'll make you question your own story. And
that's actually a great example, the gaslighting part, right? Because we actually witnessed that a few times, especially when we had this company retreat where everyone was together with at the Narcissist location.
Yeah, the Narcissist lair.
The Dragon's Den, whatever, the Dragon's Lair. And it was so interesting because he was kind of picking on one particular person. And he tried to frame that person as being unprepared for that particular meeting. And it was so interesting because that person was literally standing in front of the group.
With a whole presentation.
With a presentation behind him.
Everything prepared. And
then the narcissist would say, well, you haven't done your job right. You didn't prepare. And like, it's there.
There's the presentation.
And then he would literally go like, no.
And
like, what do you mean no? It's like, it's there. Don't talk to me like that, right? So then he would turn the argument, and then he would get personal. And then what was even more shocking to me, he would then change the attacks because obviously
it was clear that
the presentation was literally behind both of them. But he just refused also to, it was so interesting. He refused to turn around. He was just like literally at the wall behind him. The question he was asking was answered. And he would say, you didn't answer the question. Like, no, it's behind you. Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk back to me like that. And that was so interesting to see. Fascinating in hindsight. How someone can just be so stubborn and just like ignoring facts, gaslighting the person in the sense that, no, it's not true.
You're not prepared for this.
You're not prepared for this. And then the personal attack started, right? And then he went after, like, personal characteristics of the person, not going into details here, right? But then he really started to attack that person on a personal level and
in front of the whole team.
In front of the whole team, trying to mock him, trying to degrade him.
I mean, what was amazing was that person just stayed so calm.
But I think that aggravated him even more.
Oh my God, totally. Because he couldn't get a reaction.
Yes.
It was just like, the person just kept sticking to his narrative of like, no, the presentation is behind you.
And then at some point
everything's, And
then I think at some point that person understood that he cannot argue because the other person the narcissist would not accept any answer, even if it was factual. And clear for everybody. And then he just said, okay, well, whatever. If you say so. Like, whatever. He would just go into this
gray rock
mode, like, well, if you said I didn't do it, then, well, I didn't do it then, I guess, right? Then what now, right? But it was so fascinating to see. And in a way, that's exactly what Trump is doing, right? If you, there's obvious facts, and Trump clearly is a narcissist, right? There's obvious facts. And then someone, confronts him with the facts, and he just says, like, he can like have a proof written in capital letters in front of him, and he would say, no, not true.
It's not true.
It's not like that.
Exactly.
But it's like, no. And then you cannot win an argument with someone who refuses to
engage with facts,
or even accept the argument or accept anything, right? So that's the point.
That's so fascinating. So so I think this whole grey rock approach is probably the most self-protective way you can go about it. But and I think the problem is that a lot of people that are in narcissistic relationships, I think that they're often very trapped. Like, and it's easy to sort of say, oh, you should just get out, or, like, why are you in that relationship, etc. But like, people, first of all, they've been so broken down over so many years and so manipulated and so controlled, and all of this gaslighting, and they have questioned their own reality and their own sense of self-worth and etc. for so long. And maybe they've got kids with that person. And very often the narcissist has created a scenario where that person is completely financially or otherwise dependent on them.
Oh yeah, exactly, right.
And so it's very easy to sort of say, oh, that person should just leave, right? Or you should just quit your job, or you should leave that marriage or that relationship. But it's really difficult, I think, in that situation.
In particular, because narcissists are masters in manipulating you or steering you into a position of weakness where you cannot,
and vulnerability and isolation,
where you cannot get out. Where it's almost like the narcissist is the only option that you have left, or that you have left, right?
I mean, remember him saying to you, like, you cutting off the branch I'm the branch that's holding you up. And when you started, pushing back and etc. And what was the term he said?
Yeah, it's like, I remember this was a whole conversation where things were very close to the final level.
And then you knew he was a total narcissist.
Yeah, but by that time I understood what he's doing. I understood very well. And this had been going on for a couple of months by that point. So I understood what his ultimate goal was, which was to get me out of the company, essentially. And so I remember having this discussion, which was so fascinating because it was a, let's say, 20-minute, 30-minute walk from the hotel that we were staying in to the airport, and he was flying off to whatever he needed to do. And so instead of like, taking public transport or taking a taxi, we just walked there, right? Because we didn't have like, we need like 20, 30 minutes to discuss the situation, because it was clear for both of us that we reached a point where there needs to be some sort of resolution. And I remember that discussion so well because it started exactly like the typical pattern. Initially it was all like, you know what, Rob, but I'm your friend. Like, I'm the only friend that you have in this whole situation. And
I've got your back.
I've got your back, and everyone else is against you, right? Everyone else is against you. Your team is against you. The investors are against you. The other management member are against you. Everyone is against you.
And in this calm voice.
I'm your only friend, and I'm here to help you, right? And then I kind of called this out and said, well, that's clearly not the case, right? Because I can see what is.
Okay, so
camera just went out of whatever. So the whole discussion started with this very, I'm your only friend, I'm on your side, I'm with you, I want to protect you, right? That person
I'm
was
your savior.
like, twice my age, right? So I'm your savior, I'm with you. And then I called it out because I said, like, no, wait a second, everything that you're doing is essentially pointing towards you trying to get rid of me, right? And then, the submissive mode didn't work. Then he flipped into the threatening aggression mode. And then it went like, well, but if you don't do what I'm doing,
if you don't
do what I'm saying, then it's going to be your end, right? Then you will be thrown out of the company. Everyone, you will be stigmatized with failing this business. You'll never find another position like that, right? No one will ever trust you. No investors will ever trust you again. And like really, it really switched from like I'm your friend to like you got to do what I'm saying or else, right?
Yeah.
And he
threatening, literally.
And he literally said at some point, I remembered it very, very clearly, where he said, "You're either with me or you're against me. And if I tell you you jump, you will jump, right? And otherwise, that's going to be the end of it for you, right?" And he literally said that, like, so it completely switched from, okay, I can't get to him with that, get him to smooth him into submission. So he tried the other thing where he just went into the other extreme, threatening me. And at that point, because I knew what I was dealing with, I did the gray rock strategy, right? Where I then just stayed completely calm and said, well, we will see, whatever you say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you think so, then okay, right? And then so interesting to see, and that was very close to when we actually then parted ways. Well, this triggered this incredible rage in him. Like I getting like red face, and you could see that he's like he tried to suppress it, but he was so emotionally like enraged that he couldn't, like the two tactics that always work for him, like either being the nice friend, the manipulative friend, charming, or the other extreme, the threatening. They both didn't work, so he didn't know what to do. Right? And so then I just said, like, well, okay, well, if that's the case, then I think we can end discussion here and whatever. And then essentially, he went pretty much silent for the last couple of minutes where we went to the airport. And then he just shook my hand, like, well, then that's the end of it, right? So almost like that, and then he just stormed off. And that was so interesting to see, like, this, within 20, 30 minutes, whatever it was, this whole, like, roller coaster of different emotions and manipulation attempts and tactics, from nice to aggression to whatever. And what really did the job was, like, just this, okay, well, all right, whatever you say. And I think that was actually the last time I think it was literally the last time that we spoke, because then after that,
Like
the whole
face-to-face, you mean?
Face-to-face, because
Yeah.
then after that, I took some action that eventually led to, let's say, the downfall of everything in a way, but also that his downfall.
Yeah.
I would say most importantly because the situation had come to a point where it wasn't salvageable anymore from any direction, and I think it was the best possible solution for everyone, right? Because at least there was some clear end, and he didn't win, quote unquote, right?
He definitely didn't win.
I think what was clear that it was
ultimately through what you did that he was exposed for what he was.
Yes.
Because nobody external to our business had actually believed what was going on, even though we tried to tell them, and they'd only seen one side of him, and they thought we were talking absolute nonsense. All 12 of us, right?
Yeah.
They thought we were overreacting and being childish and being somehow unprofessional or whatever. They didn't want to see it. And it was only through that it all came out.
Yeah.
But it took the whole team, and it took you standing up to it, and at great cost to yourself. And also it took then the whole team threatening to leave.
Yeah.
That then exposed it. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And but ultimately, I think the team won from a moral and practical standpoint, right? Because it then became clear that everything that guy pretended to be wasn't the case, and that all the manipulation efforts went nowhere, right? And so while, yes, the outcome wasn't great from an overall perspective, because it essentially led to the end of that company, I think what was saved was the team spirit, right? Because otherwise,
ironically, I think that actually having him as a common enemy
brought the team closer together,
very
right?
close together, most of them.
And the nice thing is that a lot of the people from the team are still working together and now working together again.
Yeah.
And so it shows like the root of the issue was not what that person pretended to be, right? And it's so interesting. So yeah, I think that's if you're dealing with a narcissist, the first hurdle is to understand that you're dealing with one.
And I think people really have to educate themselves on it, right?
Absolutely.
Really
because,
understand the sort of deep psychological patterning that's involved in narcissism, and being able to recognize different kinds of narcissism,
and also I think that Ramini said up to 10% of the population are narcissists, right? So you're dealing with
that uncommon. Yeah.
You're dealing with narcissists every day. You probably have a narcissist boss, you have a narcissist coworker, you have a narcissist friend, family member, anything. And so being able to understand, and it took me 40 years to get involved with the topic and to understand it. But once you see the pattern, it's like it almost becomes like so clear. It's like once you see totally see what this person is
total
saying, right?
narcissist.
Whereas if you're not familiar with what's happening, it's very, very, very hard, because they're so good at manipulating you.
Yeah.
Right?
And so charming in the process often.
Yeah.
So I think people absolutely have to educate themselves on narcissism and really keep a close eye out for it. And also just tune into that feeling. I think often there's something in the beginning when you meet somebody where you sort of think, is this person too good to be true? Or I think there's sometimes a little bit of a red flag where it's I'm not sure about this person. Or,
it all sounds a bit like...
maybe a little too good to be true. Or, in a relationship, if that person is absolutely perfect, so wonderful, etc. I think that's a total red flag. And also if they leave you feeling not good enough, or like you've somehow disappointed them, or I think that comes later.
Yeah, or you need to. I think one of the clear giveaways, if you feel like you need to behave in a certain way,
Yeah.
which goes against the grain, totally.
Yeah.
But you need to behave in a certain way to make that person happy,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what they're trying to do. They want you to behave in a certain way so that you earn their respect or their...
And that's how they get supply, right?
Exactly.
They kind of keep you on the back foot the whole time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh. Oh,
Their appreciation.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
Oh. So, let us know what your experiences have been like if you have encountered narcissism in your life and how you dealt with it. So, yeah, thank you for joining us on this conversation.
If you haven't subscribed, please click below and leave your comments in the comments.
Yeah.
And let us know what we should talk about next. And we'll see you
See you soon.
very soon.
Thanks for joining us. Ciao.
Bye-bye. Cheers.